YouTube world? My name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic, and welcome back to another YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have you all back here again, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a Celebration of Cinema review for one of my all-time favorite movies, The Green Mile. Now, one thing about this movie is this is possibly the most interesting movie that I've ever watched. I remember it was November 30th, 2018, about 5 years ago. I was in 5th grade at the time, and I was coming home from school, and my sister, and on the time it was on Netflix, and my sister was watching it, and she had it on, but she had it on pause, but as soon as she resumed playing, I somehow, watched the rest of it. It was, towards the scene when John Coffey's holding the girl's heads in his hands. It was at that scene, and I watched throughout the whole way through, and I was invested, I was interested, and yeah, so it is leading me today to doing this review. So let's go ahead and get started talking about The Green Mile. What I love about this movie and with its story is that it is really a film about life and death and the Great Depression and how death can, how being in the Great Depression during this thing where you execute people can somehow be emotional, be tiring, be depressing. Have the happy times, but at the end of the day, it's emotional and it's sad. And this, with the spirit of this movie, with the talks about God and everything, it fits because that's what the movie is all about. And yeah, I love the story, but we have to talk about the performances and the emotions, which is the really big things I love about a film. So let's go ahead and start talking about it. So when it comes to characters, this movie has a lot of great characters. Of course, specifically with Tom Hanks' character, as you have, as soon as we start him out, we see him as this old man, and he's at this retirement home, and, he's having bad dreams of his past life as a person that was on the Green Mile, and he starts everything that somehow on this special day, he starts getting flashbacks to one of the best, but one of the worst years of his life, or one of the most tragic years of his life, when he had to execute John Coffey, the miracle of God, if you could say. As his character goes, as he starts out, and as he's telling the story, the first thing we see with him is he has a urine problem. And somehow, this problem gets resolved when John Coffey heals him, which leads him to going and doing the things with his wife, and then thinking, what if we use this, and then he cures, and then John Coffey cures Mr. Jingles. So that leads all of this to thinking, the guy's wife is sick. She's a tumor. If he healed my healing problem, if he brought Mr. Jingles back to life, maybe there's a chance we could save his wife. Get rid of the tumor. And it's such a great moment. Well, actually, we'll talk more about the healing of the characters and stuff and the emotions because it builds with that. But just off of characters, the movie does a great job of casting people that are both likable, that are hateable, but at the end, you have people in these cells. You have Mr. Noodle from Elmo's World, who's this crazy ass dude, but at the same time, you kind of trust him. So of the prisoner cells, the cell prisoners, you kind of trust him a bit more. because he seems a lot more kinder, even though he's done a lot of terrible things. You kind of like him a lot more than Wild Bill, and even what's his name? Oh, I forgot his name. I forgot his name. Hold up. Oh yeah, Sam Rockwell as Wild Bill. He's fantastic in this role as he's just chewing up all of the scenery. And even with Dale, he's kind of chill. He's pretty cool, especially Mr. Jingles. But at the same time, you know he's crazy. He still has that crazy side to him, which, of course, why would he be there in the first place if he wasn't crazy? But then even you also have one of our own bad security guards with Percy, as he just does a lot of bad stuff. He says that Mouseville isn't real to Dale as soon as he's about to die. He makes the execution of his very bad. He does a lot. He kills Mr. Jingles. He killed Wild Bill. And it's just a lot of emotional stuff. And one thing I love about with the movie with the characters is you have, or actually we'll talk about that with the emotions, but yeah. All of the characters, all the performances in this film were great, and they did a great cast with this movie. So now, let's talk about some of the emotions. And with the emotions in this movie, like I said with this movie making you feel so many different emotions, this movie does that. So it kind of has a segment of things where everything. So you have like two things. One, you have the executions. So it starts off with this guy who they practice with, and they kind of show Percy of how it works. And, you know, he's a pretty funny guy, but you know he's crazy in the head. And with the first execution, it's nice, it's brutal, but you don't really care too much about him because you don't really spend enough time with him. But because this movie actually kind of develops a couple characters, it's able to make the executions pretty painful and emotional. To where once you get to the next execution is Dale. And because you spent a little bit of time with him, he just suffered the death of Mr. Jingles, but brought him back. And then you get to his execution, and you actually quite feel bad for him. Like, you know he's done some pretty bad stuff, but you feel kind of bad for him. And you even feel more bad for him that Percy hijacked his execution. And it's pretty terrifying in the way that stuff happens. And then you get to the final execution when we have to kill John Coffey. At first, when I watched the movie, I was like, why did he kill John? I thought it was Wild Bill that killed the kids. He's dying because he killed the kids. But he hypnotized Percy, which made that kill Wild Bill. So in a way, John Coffey killed Wild Bill. It was not Percy. He used Percy to kill him. That's my guess. You can comment down in the comments if I'm right. But when you get to John Coffey's death, all the little scenes leading up to it, from when he watches I'm in Heaven, he gets a last walk in the park or something like that, it's all emotional. And then you get to, you know, the setup of the execution, and, you know, put on the mask. Don't put me in the dark. I was afraid of the dark. And even the guy that plays John Coffey was amazing too. And even from all of the characters' emotions, you can just tell they don't want to do this. And that goes back to what I said, that John Coffey did a lot of amazing stuff in this movie. He healed Paul. He brought Mr. Jingles back to life. And then he also brought back the sick wife. So therefore, he is a miracle of God. But somehow, this miracle of God happened to be the devil of hell. Happened to be the sin of hell now. That's what I'm guessing. And that's why they had to kill him. But it's so saddening that somehow Mr. Jingles and Paul somehow lived longer than any other of them, that a sprinkle of life kind of shined on them. That seemed quite interesting. And that's an interesting stuff with like supernatural elements. That's pretty cool. And I love the note that it leaves off of when he's like, if a mouse can live for that long, how much longer do I have? We each owe a death. There are no exceptions. Oh God. May God have mercy on your soul, whatever. But yeah, the emotions in this movie, some of them almost made me cry. I don't think I've ever I don't cry much in movies, that's the thing. But yeah, that is my pretty long review for The Green Mile. I love this movie. This is, like I said, this is the most interesting movie I've ever watched. As soon as my sister resumed playing, I was watching it the entire way through. And then when it came on TV again, I watched from the very beginning and watched it from the scenes I watched before. It's an amazing film. It's funny. It's likable. It has some mean-spirited humor, but I think it kind of works, especially in this time setting. Besides that, it's a great film, and you should definitely go watch it. It's a great Tom Hanks movie. Go watch it. That's my review for The Green Mile. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff in the About section over there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.